we were asked to put something together today to talk to the staff about our personal techniques that work for us as bud tenders, receptionists, employees here at Have a Heart. And so this is the first time I've ever spoken in front of more than 3 people, so I wrote it all down. So thank you for being patient and understanding that this is new for me. I was originally going to come in here and talk to everybody about different companies and their upsell strategies, their sales technologies, the way that they do business. But as I started putting pen to paper, I started to realize that we don't sell coffee, and we are not a designer jeans company. So for me to come in here and talk to you about the Nordstrom way or Starbucks experience is kind of illogical. So I changed it, and I'm going to talk to you about what works for me, because that's all that I know. So I'm going to share that with you. I have been in the medical marijuana industry for about 3.5 years. I came as being a bartender because I love the repertoire that I get to have with different people. I didn't like what I was putting in people's bodies anymore. I didn't like seeing them come and shake my hand as a really nice, kind person at the beginning of the night, and by the end of the night they were terrible, awful, grabby, yucky. So I switched over to bud tending and haven't looked back, because the number one thing I do with people is I invest my time with them. Invest yourself. Get to know the people that you're helping. There's a line of appropriate contact with our patients, but we all know where it is. We can feel these people out. Get to know the people that you're helping 8 hours a day. Remember their names, and if you can't, that's totally okay. We're not all, we're not superhuman. We can't be expected to remember everything, but try to remember one thing, or note their account. Put their dog's name on their account or something like that, so that you can come back to it, because that personal experience is why I was a patient at Have a Heart. I was working at 2 other collectives, and I was still a patient at Have a Heart. That says a lot for you guys. That says that you have people leaving their discounts at their own places, because we do. The Green Skunk is a patient of ours at Aurora. And they leave to come in and see us, and that's incredible to me. Dale Carnegie says that in any language, there's no sweeter word than one's own name. Remember that. Use it to your advantage. I'm firm but fair. We should not have to buy our patients with discounts. Medical marijuana sells itself if you have your product knowledge behind you and you know your product. At Nordstrom, I was required to know every ingredient in a face cream, and if I didn't, I could get written up for that, because some people have health hazards. They have allergic reactions, things that you need to know off the top of your head, that when you have that knowledge behind you, it makes you look so competent that buying anything from you is easy for them. They leave knowing that they made a good purchase because they trust you. That is so huge. We have people who trust us with their health. This is medical. Not everybody wants to be enlightened. I love being enlightened. I know a lot of us here do. Sadly, some people truly are only here because they absolutely have to be. They would not be here if it was to enjoy marijuana, as something that we do sometimes. They need it medicinally. Start small. There's nothing worse than scaring the heck out of a patient by over-medicating them. I've done it to my mom. I can totally say that I've done it to a patient, testing out new recipes, and felt awful. My own mother did not want to eat any of my edibles for like a good 6 months until I dialed back my dosing and stuff. So start small. Relate to them. Share personal experience. I've been using THC to enlighten my spirit for many years, but it wasn't until about 6 months ago. Some of you, knew me as that patient. I had something really traumatic that happened in my life, and I went into full-blown anxiety. I wasn't leaving my house. I wasn't eating. The only place that I left my house to come to was to see Jade at the cafe, and I would call her and I'd be like, "Hey, are you there? I need to see you." It changed my life. I got on CBD medication. Within a week, I was out of my house. Within 2 weeks, I was running Green Lake every day. And within a month, I was working here. It literally changed my life. And I tell people that about our Mount Si caps, 9 times out of 10, they buy one. that next time they come back, they usually have had that same experience. So I have patients that I sell 50, 100 caps to just based on that one thing that I told them about my life. Individual effort. Every patient is his or her own special need. Work with your patients to find their perfect dosing. Continually shift their experience until you find the perfect product for them. Once you do that, as long as you can keep the product in stock, you'll have a patient for life. It's no problem. The patients that come back for peer cure every single week, they will always be there as long as you can make sure to have it. Keep in communication with your managers to make sure that you can. Know your product. MMJ already said this. Sells itself if you have the product knowledge. Patients for life. It's human nature to tell our stories, which means we talk about where we have been and what we've been doing typically throughout the day. Word of mouth is huge in this industry. Remember, human nature is to share a negative experience with 10 people, whereas a positive experience we only share with 3. That means we have to work 4 times as hard, almost 4, 3.86 or something, I think. 4 times as hard in order to get that person to tell their friends that they had a good experience with us. That's really hard. Thank them. These incredibly different, unique, and sometimes extremely challenging patients are the reason you have your job. I applied at this company for a year before I ever got hired. So I feel extremely lucky to have my job here. And I feel like every single person here should feel the same way. Sure. In the end, never forget that we see 100 of them every day. 140 on the third. But we see over 100 people every day, but they only see one of us. We are their experience. So give it to them. That's it. That's all I have for you.
Okay. All right. I know maybe half of you. My name's Dane. I work over at Fremont Gardens. My topic today is supposed to be on new patients. And so perhaps I didn't prepare as well as Marissa over there, but I'd just like to thank her for inviting me to do this. And so the reason I wanted to present on new patients is because, kind of like she was saying, it's like we're their one experience, right? And so if a new patient comes to our store, that's our one and only chance. Like that really is our one and only chance to get a patient, to get them to come see us, to get them to come see us again and again and again, right? And so how do we have to make that experience? Anybody can answer that. Wonderful, right? We got to make that experience awesome for them. And as a patient, pretty much every single place that I went to, my experience sucked. You know, it was like I would walk in and they're too cool for fucking school to talk to me, you know, or they're too stoned or like whatever. Hey man, what do you want? Hey, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, geez, like the guy that I used to buy weed from in his fucking bedroom was trying to hustle me harder than these guys. You know what I mean? Like there's just no effort being put into this. So luckily, I can say that I had 2 really awesome experiences with 2 people in this room as a patient. The very first time I came to Fremont Gardens, I dealt with Noble. He was the man. He was awesome. The very first time I came to the cafe, I dealt with Micah at the Dab Bar. He was fucking awesome. We talked sports the whole time. It was great. And both these guys had awesome recommendations. And so I learned a lot from them when I first kind of started coming in. And so what I try to do with patients when they come in is just be the best, right? Just be awesome. Just be like a shining superstar for them if I possibly can, you know? And I want to make them feel comfortable, you know? And I want them to be able to feel comfortable enough to ask me questions or to ask even Noble questions or to ask Sam questions if they're just like hanging out and, you know, maybe they're not, you know, dealing with a patient. You know, we try to introduce each other there. So if you could kind of like visualize our store, Fremont Gardens, a little bit, I kind of have a spiel that I give every single patient. I try and give them my undivided attention, and I try and just give them a total orientation of the shop. And so what I say is I just say, hey, how's it going? My name is Dane. And maybe if Noble's over there or Sam's over there, I'll say, hey, this is Samantha, this is Noble. You know, whoever the receptionist is, they've met Kale or, you know, they've met whoever. And so I say, I'm Dane. If there's not a wait, you know, I'll say, sometimes there's a wait, I'll show them the waiting area. And I'll say, cool, well, welcome. You know, as a new patient, we're going to give you a free pre-roll or $5 Medable. and I'm just going to give you a little orientation of the store. So we've got our top shelf $13 gram stuff up here. We've got our $10 gram stuff here, and so it's all sativa here, it's all indica here. We got the same stuff on both shelves right over there. We got some medicated ice cream right over there. We got some nice cool colas and stuff. We got all kinds of goodies, both savory and sweet. We've got chocolates, we've got brownies, we've got Blondie bars, we've got all kinds of stuff. We've got Chex Mix, we've got Cocoa Canna. Canna Chef is the bomb. I see some right over there. Really, really good stuff. We also carry tinctures, topicals. Sorry guys, I'm a little nervous under the time here. We carry tinctures, topicals, capsules. We also carry the open vape stuff, which is very, very popular if you're into that. And I'm just here to answer any questions that you have or show you anything that you might want to see. And so I try and make them feel comfortable like that. Like, hey, I'm very loud with you right now, patient. I'm very loud with you right now. I'm putting myself out there. So hopefully, patient, that is making you feel comfortable. Hopefully me doing this and just kind of putting all my energy out there is making you feel comfortable enough to ask me questions. And then what I continue to do too is just ask them questions. To me, that's like the number one thing about sales is just to continue to ask questions. And then you can show them things. Based on whatever they say, you can show them stuff. And it's just like kind of like Marissa was saying too, like getting to know people. This is our one and only shot to get to know them, to hopefully to get to know them more in the future. And so really asking questions, I can't put enough emphasis on that because that's how you get to know people. That's how you get to know patients. That's how you get to know a girl. That's how you get to know a guy or like whoever. Is just continue to ask questions. So that's all I got. You are so sexy, dude. I'm just saying. So happy that you're here, man. So happy that you're here.
I have been an employee at Have a Heart for a year now, going on a year. I've been a patient since they were one little store on Aurora Avenue in 2012. BJ was one of the first people to ever sell me weed at Have a Heart, and then Warren, which was no longer with us, and a number of other employees that are no longer here, but it was the experience was what got me to come back. They were the only people that were nice to me, that treated me like a human being. They were the only people that actually took the time to address what I was asking them for. In other dispensaries, they would just try and push weed on me and push product out the door, where they would pull out 10 jars up on the counter and let me look through the jars and let me be the boss of my purchase. The first thing I want to address, I don't like pushy bud tenders. I don't like people pushing me to buy something. I like to make the patient feel like they made the decision themselves. And so the first things I look for is body language. When someone walks in the store, watch their eyes. Where do their eyes go? If someone walks up to say our Cocoa Canna cookies and they're staring at something that's $5 or a bonbon or any of our $5 medibles at all, you could instantly turn that $5 sale into $21.90 by simply referencing, if you buy 4, we'll give you the 5th one free. You're not being pushy. You're not being an over-the-top salesman. You're simply using our already, the deals that we do to get product out the door. And it's super easy, and people give you a lot of validity and a lot of credibility as not being a pushy salesman. If someone walks over to the BHO and it's Wednesday or it's Saturday, all you have to do is mention our special. If you buy 3 half grams, I'll give you $5 off a half gram or $10 off a full gram, just by simply mentioning what our specials are. And that takes you guys being responsible and knowing what all of our days of the week are as far as our specials, by heart, by hand. You should know 7 days a week what we're offering as far as the special of the day, with off the top of your head. If you don't, we have thousands of sheets printed throughout all the stores, and they're on the ground and everywhere. And so it's easy knowledge. It's readily available information. And so I try and just utilize all of the things in the store that Ryan and Soka are kind enough to do to our patients to my advantage, which is specials. And I don't like discounting. Not that I don't enjoy giving a UW student their discount. I feel like they deserve a discount. But in all reality, we offer a lot of super cool specials as it is. And so you guys can capitalize on their specials and get tons and tons of upsells by simply referencing them. Like when someone comes in on Thursday and they're looking at CBD pills, I tell them you're going to get 25% off. They'll buy 10 more. And I'm not a pushy salesman. They feel like they made the decision. They're the ones who are in control, not me. When in all reality, I feel like I walked them right into it, and I did. It was really easy though. The other thing is customer service. I mean, you talked about it. Dane talked about it. knowing these people on a first name basis, as in almost every patient that walks through the door, Q and I know their first name. We probably know their husband or their wife's name. We probably know their dog's name. And we talk to them about these things. And not to take up too much of their time and not to distract them from their decisions, but it's nice to inquire how someone's day is going. And receptionists, I don't feel like they get enough credit or as much credit as they should get. They set the tone for y'all's purchase. They set the tone for the customer's experience. As in, if the receptionists are awesome and smiling and putting these people in a good mood, it is your job to continue that mood once they come downstairs or once they come into the bud room. Like, they set the tone. And so if they're already happy and smiling and saw one of our smiling, beautiful receptionists and put them in a good mood, then that makes my job really, really easy, because that person comes downstairs and all I have to do is keep smiling, keep being nice, and keep catering to their needs. It's really easy to be positive and not be negative in the workplace. And that's something that I love, is when I come to work, every single human being I work with is in a good mood, and our patients pick up on that. Like, vibes and energy in a building is huge. If there's one bad apple, if there's one person who's not in a good mood, and I understand we all have personal things and we've all had an emotional moment in the workplace at one time or another, but if we can somehow leave that out of there and just have smiles for miles, people buy more stuff.
It's true.
I'm serious.
People,
Smiles for miles.
But people just buy more when they're in a setting where people are smiling. I've seen it, and I've seen people come downstairs in a really pissed off, negative mood. Like Carol's husband, the first patient ever at Have Our Cafe went to the hospital the other night. She was in a really bad mood. She came upstairs and was telling us all about it, and we gave her favorite strain, Granddaddy Purple. When she left, she gave us a hug, and she was happy and left with smiles. Like, if you can get someone's frown when they walk in and when they leave, they're happy, you did a really good job. And maybe they'll come back next time, or they'll go tell someone, out there on the street, because Carol is constantly in the U District, about what a good time she had with us. And so being customers almost their friends, I don't really know how else to describe it other than getting to know them on a really, really personal level. And maybe it's just because we've been at the cafe for so long, but we know everybody, and that's a huge deal, because you can cater towards their specific needs. If you see a patient walk through the door and they constantly every week are buying a CBD product, and we get a new CBD product, you should be showing them that. It's easy connections and connecting the dots, where it's easy to get more product out the door by simply mentioning that we have new product. Because oftentimes people have their go-to brands, they have their go-to pills or go-to products, and we get new products all the time. You guys see all the new stuff. We just got Solstice joint packs. We're pumping those all day long. And you tell people you're getting 3 grams of Solstice for only $30 instead of paying $13 a gram, by simply mentioning the price difference, if you will, the cost difference. You're not upselling, but you're upselling. You're not actually pushing on them. And so mentioning specials, if they're military, I always tell them, you're going to get your military discount. Also, I'm not trying to say get your discounts really, really high, but it's easy to tell generally if someone's military. If they're disabled, we have patients that are deaf that we cater to. They have one leg. Remember their discounts. That speaks volumes. I don't like getting my discounts higher any more than any of you guys do, but if they're deaf and you're writing on a piece of paper to communicate a sale or figure out what medicine that they want, they get 10% off. They get disabled, but let them know that you thought to do that for them. Like when the military vets come downstairs and I see their Iraq tattoos, I tell them, hey, I'm giving you a military discount. Thank you for your service, and shake their hand. Just be really genuine. Like, that sells. They're going to go out and talk about what an awesome time they had at our stores. But teamwork's a really big deal to me. We get that a lot down at the cafe, and it just feels like a family. And I feel like we do really well in sales, and we have a really good customer service experience there. And we've got it dialed in the sense that every person that comes in gets treated the same and leaves with the same experience, and they buy more because they're in a positive mood. I can't stress that enough, that the more you can relax these people, the more that you can put them at ease when they come into the store. A lot of people are new to this industry. They've never bought cannabis in a medical dispensary before, and so the new patient thing, you guys were talking about that earlier, have a script for that. Have a spiel, like he said, for a new patient, and it should be individual, and it should be something that you can just spit out, like right when they come in the door, and let them know these are all of our specials. Here's a calendar, take it home, put it on your fridge, and load them with information, and ask people how they heard about us. We have new patients come in all the time. Figure out where they're hearing about us, and oftentimes people tell me, oh, my friend told me. I heard about you guys on Instagram. I heard about you guys on Leafly. And if they heard about us on those websites, tell them to go follow us. Tell them to shout us out. Give them a review card. It's like social media does volumes of justice for us. The last thing I'm going to focus on is I'm an upsell king. I sit there and track my numbers the entire shift. I watch Like I come in there, my till's at 250. I'm counting every dollar until the end of the day, and sometimes I even keep a sheet right there, and I'll keep track of how many people I can convince to buy an extra thing and go upstairs and get in our ATM, and how much money I was able to upsell, and it will get into the hundreds of dollars by simply mentioning specials. But I'm very competitive with sales, and I am with Q, and we sit there, and you're in a competitive market. Do you know how many other dispensaries you guys are competing with here in town? You're in a competitive market, and so to not be competitive at our stores, you're losing us money, and to not look at it as positive competition, we're all on the same team. And so if you're competing with other budtenders to get high numbers, all you're doing is covering the cost of your overhead at your store more. You're paying all your other employees paychecks more because you're bringing in more money to the company. And so there's nothing wrong with, and I don't believe this at all, with being a competitive salesman. When me and Q or other, I'm training Zach, and I'm really proud because I feel like when I train new employees, it's my responsibility to get them to, and his numbers are off the chart right now. And I feel really proud because I feel like it represents some of the things that I was taught by people that coached me on how to be a budtender. And one of the things I've taught him is to be competitive. I bring up our sales at the end of the night. I talk about how much money we pulled in. I incentivize him and tell him, hey, get an upsell. Let's see how many BHO, how many half grams can we sell in a shift. And we kill it. And we'll pick a certain product like Refine or Superior and say, we're going to empty that out today. By God, at the end of our shift, it's going to be gone. And it's fun. We do it as a game. We don't do it to poke and prod or hurt anyone's feelings. It brings in a ton of money. And if you guys look at it more like a video game, trying to get a high score without being over the top salesman, it works magic. And the numbers, that's all I can say, is the numbers are a direct reflection of it. I mean, you guys can get an extra $500 in sales tomorrow if you just go and mention all of our specials and all of our upsells as many times as you possibly can with every patient that comes to the door. You win. And it's easy. Our job is, we're not reinventing the wheel, we're selling pot. You know what I mean? If you don't want to be in a competitive market, go work at the petting zoo. There are 300 other dispensaries here in town, and you're competing with all of those dispensaries. You are. Think about it. We are not the only place in town where people can go and buy weed. You have to give them a reason to come back and see us. So you better list off the specials. You better be genuine, nice, customer service, and make them feel like you are their buddy and you're their best friend, and they're going to go tell all their friends about you. If you're a girl, smile a little bit more. If you're a guy, be really, really sweet, say yes ma'am, and get the door for the woman if she's walking in. It's really easy to do those just extra 5-10 second things, and they remember that and they come back. So if you guys ever have any questions about upsells or anything like that, I have a lot of easy pairs like root beer floats. Someone getting an ice cream, I tell them to grab a root beer, make a root beer float. You're doubling how much they buy. They were going to leave with a $10 item by simply mentioning, hey, make a root beer float. You doubled your sale right there, and you're not being a pushy salesman. Root beer floats are good. People love them. But, that's all.
Oh, hello. All right. Hi, guys. I'm Samantha. I work over at Fremont Gardens. I kind of helped open up Have a Heart on Aurora, did a little bit at the cafe, and now I'm kind of hanging out at Fremont. It's kind of been my place, but I kind of want to just talk about a little bit what everybody was talking about, kind of developing relationships with patients. This is medicine to them, and like a lot of people have already said, that it's not something that they wanted to go to at first. Maybe they've never smoked cannabis ever in their lives before, and they're really nervous. They don't want to get high. They don't want to get stoned, things that they see on TV, but we really need to not only know our products so we can educate them. We don't have certificates hanging behind us that say, oh, I went to Cannabis U or whatever. We really need to make sure we are on our game with knowing everything about our products, and then making sure patients feel comfortable leaving with their medicine. Every time somebody comes in, I'm pretty sure I know literally everybody that comes in the store, but there's always people that are like, I'm not sure if I met you before, but have you been to our store before, or how was your experience last time? What did you get last time that you really liked? What did you not like? What kind of feeling are you trying to use, get from your medicine? Are you daytime user, nighttime user? There's so many open-ended questions that make people feel special and comfortable, and they feel like you really care, that you're trying to figure out how to help them. You're not just trying to say, oh, this is a great strain, this is fire, don't ever say that. I know we all know like what's fire and stuff,
I think you can say that in like certain situations. Like if they come in and they're like,
you have to be very careful.
Tattoo you can say.
You have to really read your patients and really read the situation and make sure you don't like ask somebody who's like in their 40s, what are you trying to get stoned? Some people come in and they're like, give me the thing that's gonna mess me up the most. you still want to turn it around and be like, okay, well, what kind of, effect are you trying to get from your medication, or is it, ask them about like why they got their authorization in the first place, if it's something that's continuously happening, if it's like a one-time incident that's just totally wrecked their lives and they need cannabis to keep them moving and everything. You can always check back with them and see how it's continuously working. I always check notes every time a patient comes in. Even if I've seen them tons of times, I'll check if there's anything new and be like, oh, this person's looking for CO2 oil. This person only wants CBD. Don't even mention anything with THC, And like Tyler said, if somebody comes in for a CBD product, show them all the CBD products. Try and give them a little bit of everything, because that's, they don't want just one product. That's why cannabis is so awesome, is because it's so versatile. There's so many different ways to get your medicine and to make people's lives smoother and not throw them off in their lives, but just keep them going on a better pace, keeping them healthy. Starting those relationships with people really make a difference. They can get cannabis anywhere. They can go anywhere and find whatever they want to pay for, whatever money they have in their pockets at the time to pay for it. But it's the relationships that we develop with them, and that they can trust us, and that we really do truly care about them. And that's why we have a heart, we have a heart for them. We are not, I don't know, there's tons of names out there, but Have a Heart has it in the name. Like, you got to be there for your patients, and they will come back, and you may make their day. I make tons of people's days, I'm not gonna lie. I love to make people's days. They'll come in, they're kind of like in a shitty mood bad mood for whatever reason, and you figure it out, and you kind of just work with them. You read them, and you see what they're looking for, and then by the end of the day, they're gonna walk out and they're gonna be like, that person is so cool. I just feel really cool just because I get to talk to her or him or whoever, young kids, we're a lot of younger people in here, and we have a lot of older patients that come in, and they may have been smoking for 40, 50 years or however old they are. But there's always new stuff coming out, and we always like to educate people and let them know that we stay educated and we're here for them. And so, yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing that I like to do, is just keep up on relationships and make people feel really comfortable. And, that this is not a scary product. It's not something that people have been, propaganda for years and years on marijuana. It's something new. It's something new information for them to learn about, that it's beneficial for really most everybody, but that's why there's so many different products that we can use to help them out. So I like to just really enforce you guys stay personal with your patients and make them feel comfortable. Read them. If they're walking towards something, figure it out. Like, even if you're talking about something else and they're over here, well, what are you looking at? Like, or, what can I help you find today? Anything specific, and just go off of that. There's always open-ended things. And yeah, I just really like to stress that about being on a one-on-one basis with everybody and kind of making them feel personal and making them feel special to make them into our store. So.